How are we doing? Okay, I'm going to get the chat up, but we are going to look at doorways and barriers today. Once I've given you a little update on how things are going the last week. And here's a little update on how. That's good. Testing 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. So there's a couple of things today that we'll go over. So, as you can see here, we have a festive greetings from DR Games. That goes out to everybody for your support. And along with it, we have a frigid gorger. Is a type of fungi, usually a slimy gorger, but now it's a frigid gorger. Hello, Mark. How you doing? Graham, good to see you. Yes, good to see you too, Jeff. Well, nice to have you here. As always. Yes. Oh, I'm tired, but I'm happy to be here chatting with people. As I often say, I work in a bit of a bubble, so it's nice to be able to present. Not like a slideshow or some old-fashioned boring holiday presentation. It's nice to sort of just display some of the stuff, some of the work that I've been doing. And it's been going really well. How's everybody doing? What day is it today? It's 11th of December. Blimey, that has flown by. Drinking a Dura today, gluten free. Mike, good to see you. Good to see you. That's right, Jeff. I know, and Mark's probably wondering the same thing. I've just had my head down every day. I've been doing like 10, 12 hours writing, trying to get this rule set done, and I'm like a day, or I'm a day away maybe, basically, and I'll go over it a little bit later, but it's 30 pages of rules, and it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. I think Christmas is going to creep up on me if I'm not careful. Yeah, it's doing the same to me. It's creeping up on me like a frigid gorger. But I haven't sent anything out. I have every intention of sending this out for you, Jeff, and Mark, and anybody else who wants to read through the raw text. So if you're watching this and you're one of my testers and you want to read the raw text, then let me know. This is basically what I mean by that is it's still in the Word document format, and it doesn't look as pizzazzy, if that's a word. I know, considering, a couple of months back I was sending you stuff every other day. Yeah, it is quiet at the moment, but I mean, look, that's maybe not such a bad thing when we are going to hit into, when we're in January, I'm going to be trying to bang out the levels, trying to get them done as soon as I can. So there's going to be a lot more stuff to do come January, don't you worry. Blaine, how are you doing? I just jumped in, was watching the fascinating video on quantum computing. Yowza, brain is fried. Yeah, no, I've watched a few of those fairly recently, Blaine, and it's scary. Scary, the power that is coming with quantum computing. Oh my God. It's nice to have a rest this time of year, Toby, yeah. Yeah, well, it's coming. It's coming. Works out due to busy holidays. Yes. Fantastic. All good. Yeah, you guys are there. top of my mind. You know, I'm thinking, right, got to get out to the boys. I will do. It's basically I've worked through all of the sections in the book, in the rule book. Where's my rule book? I did have one of my... That's weird. Anyhow, I've gone through a whole bunch of stuff. So we've got... you can't see it on the screen there, but... I worked through character creation with all the 3 new professions. We talked a bit about that last week. Yes, the Frigid Gorger is, the link is in the description. So I'm basically, as I email people now, I'm starting to send this as an attachment. It's like the freebie, so you can get that one. It'd be cool if someone decides to print it, that they cut it out and put it in a thing and then show it on Facebook. That would be fantastic. And then if that's done, then I can... mind you, I could just put up the link on Facebook anyway. I will do. It's coming. Hey Matt, how you doing? So I've worked through all the stats and stuff, the changes. I'm rephrasing. You can see it moving in the background here. I don't really want to show it all at the moment because it's still obviously a draft. It's nothing too exciting, but it's like having to think about starting equipment. So flashlight, rations, stim dock, which we'll talk about next week probably, sample scanner, utility pouch, crowbar, portable 3D printer, camo tent, and backpack, stuff like that. So I've got to think about what all of those connotations are and what you need to be able to function in the ship. David, good to see you. Aston Villa did well, very good. Toby, it is minus 33 Celsius with the wind chill here in the Great White North. Wow, how's the weather there? Wish you were here. Ha ha ha. No, I hate the cold. I like looking at it on films. The weather here has been about 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. Minus 33. Blimey, man. Blaine, where are you again? Tell me. Just downloaded my Gorger. Right, well, let me know if there's any spelling mistakes. I just didn't think to send that out to you guys. But if there's anything that jumps out, let me know and I can update the link and people can re-download it. But it's meant to be something a bit festive for people. So that is free. You can just download that there. Well done, Matt. Matt's printing it out now. Yeah, so I've been doing all the character stuff, Death, Into the Dark, Hulk, doing all the map stuff. I've obviously had to redesign all the maps. And as I'm reading through Dungeon, because I'm working from the Dungeon rules, because obviously it's like a cloning, but it's a reskin. Redoing all the graphics, and we're going to look at some of that in a minute, and there probably will be a few errors in there. You don't have to point those out. I'm going to be sending those over to you. Saskatchewan, is that how you say it? It does sound dangerous. That's the weird thing, right? There's a misconception in the world. From my point of view, people often cite hot countries as dangerous places to go, and don't be caught out in the hot weather. That's true. You'll probably die of thirst in a couple of days, maybe. If you're caught out in the cold in a colder climate, you die in an hour if you haven't got the protection. You know, it is You know, the cold is a killer, and I would rather not be around it. So we're going to look at doors because there's some interesting stuff going on with doors, and I want to talk you through it and see what you think and get some opinions. But I've been done the doors, but I've also worked through the combat, ranged combat, stims, new types of gases you can find in canisters or on the ship. Because I've had to think about the Dark Hulk. You're not going to find normal resources. You're going to find different types of resources, and they may use gases and stuff like that in their ships for their life support and different stuff that goes on, difficult chemical processes they need in the ship. So you can salvage some of those and make your own stims with those. So that's going to be part of the game. I've looked at combat, ranged combat, which maybe we'll look at next week. Continuous firing, hand-to-hand combat has changed. There's a couple of additional things there. Maybe not so much stuff. It's pretty much the same actually. And then new weapons. So I've been working on the weapon cards, which again I'll probably talk about soon. And yeah, each weapon, each range weapon has its own card, but you also have a space on your character sheet to fill in that section. Right, let's get back to, I've got the doors set up there nicely. Okay. All right, so oh yes, let's just add in an image here, just a quick. Oh yes, I'll make a glue-like change. Thanks, Mark. I do have a ranged weapon card here that can be. Oh no, it's not ready yet. It's only in. We'll look at that next week. Maybe I'll post up an example on the Facebook page. That's probably what I'll do. Yeah. So. All right, so we've had 10 minutes. Let's put up. So we've got the festive greetings Christmas card type thing. You can print the card with that on the back and have that on your mantelpiece if you want. There's also the Have a Great Winter Break Frigid Gorger. So the Frigid Gorger stats have changed. This is an official card, and it may well be printed at some point. I'd like to think maybe there might be some kind of climate-related expansion in the future. So suddenly there's a heat wave, or there's the frozen, or there's a freeze over in the realm. This is like a realm type thing, and so there may be like a little pack of cards or a little expansion that features creatures that have been frozen or affected thus so, and creatures that maybe are fire enhanced, or we have had 2d6 Ice Age. Yeah, it'll be 2d6 realm climate expansion. Something like that at some point. It's a nice little idea, but this goes into the canon as the Frigid Gorger. It has the Ice Splinter, lose 1 HP next round. So it's kind of like a long-term effect. It kind of, whatever that word is. And if you should face a slimy gorger during the month of December, it becomes a frigid gorger. And I quite like that kind of, that additional, what do they call it? The fourth wall. So something external in the real world affects the game. So it might be that we have it could actually be something along the lines of the month that you're in. Check the what would you call it? 2d6 calendar. check the month you're in, and see what creatures are affected by what's going on that month. Might be an idea. Frigigorgia has been added to the creature cards. Fantastic. So that's the reason. And as I said, the link is in the description, so you can find it there. And just paste that link into the URL, and it will come, and you'll be able to, it will download for you, and then you'll have that file. Now this is A5 format, so it will print this. This is to scale. This the back plate, the white plate, Have a Great Winter Break plate, and if you print that out, that should be the poker size cards with any luck. Oh, thanks, Matt. That's very, very, very cool of you. No pun intended. Right, so fantastic stuff. We'll send that back a little bit. Hang on a minute. This is right. Make sure I get the right one here. For some reason, I used to select. You can come up. That's good. I'm just repositioning some of the stuff on the screen here. Here we are. Okay. Right, so as we know, in 2d6 Dungeon, we had, as can be clearly seen on the crib sheet bookmark here, we had every time a new card comes out, I have to rearrange my card folder as I have them organised by level and in alphabetical order. Oh man, sorry David. Oh dear. Oh man, that's a pain. Sorry. It's be worth it. Be worth it. So we have the doorways here. So we have archway, curtain, metal door, portcullis, reinforced door, stone slab, wooden door. Okay, and it's got all the little symbols on there. And don't worry guys, if you see any errors on this text, I'm going to send it through to you anyway, and you can have a look at it there. So that's on there. And actually, the new bookmark for 2d6 Void will have a nice little icon box just like that, with these new icons you can see here. Okay, so there are a slightly less. And I had to think about it. I mean, I was thinking about what sort of doorways do we see in a science fiction setting, and I kind of thought to myself, well, there are, and it may change. We have an archway. Matt says he swapped from card folder to an old Magic the Gathering box I had sitting on the shelf. Fantastic. That does sound a little bit easier, but not so easy to flip through, I guess. But, you know, still very handy. I have a fair few myself. I have a few thousand Magic the Gathering cards tucked away in boxes. So we have 3 times a door. Aha! Good spot. Good spot, Jeff. You'll find out about these things very soon. If not tomorrow, you know, it'll be Saturday. Maybe not Saturday because I've got my sister coming over, but it'll be very soon. The red box is a symbol. It is an indication that primary sixes will block your shot roll when you fire at that alien. Okay, so interrupts that have the numbers round ranged combat, indeed. So I'm trying to make that as simple and as less intrusive as possible. So it just incorporated into interrupts. And it's like the metal forearm deflects the ranged combat, some element of that movement. So checking doors, and you'll also see there's a ranged weapon thing there. Yeah, we'll see. We're going to do some testing of that as well when we get into it. But range combat has thrown up all sorts of interesting questions and issues that I've dealt with, hopefully in an effective way. So you will see that, and we will test that live, and you boys will get the text very soon, so you can start to have a look through it. It's quite a big document, so yeah, it's going to be some time. So, and incidentally, I do plan to do a Rad Zone stream as well this Christmas, streaming the Rad Zone Radioactive Reindeer Christmas special. So I will be doing that as well at some point, and hopefully it would be nice also to do a Fighting Fantasy stream to break away from all the game development stuff. So we have archways, sliding doors, so the doors that you see in so many science fiction things, and it could just be a ka-junk rather than a two, but that's how this ship is kind of set up. Bio coded door. Graham, yep. Bio-coded door. It's got a little symbol next to it. Security door and electrical barrier. So they're the ones at the moment. Nothing else has kind of sprung to mind as I've been doing it, but it may do depending on how the writing of the levels goes. If I'm like in a situation I think, oh, maybe we could have something here, I might well add that in. But at the moment this is how it is. So we've got these 5 types. Oh, that says 3 types there. There are 5 types. And but what do these mean? So if they open, they open. If they're unlocked. But what if they're locked? We do the same check. Airlock. Rob Heath. Airlock. That's a good one. That throws up a whole bunch of questions. How are you doing, Rob? I'm going to write that down here. Okay. And ponder over that. Because we're inside the structure. Energy is basically the electrical barrier. Blaine. And the extra dimensional doors, well, that's just in your head. I don't know. That's the thing, right? Like Dungeon, it's kind of like a gritty sci-fi. It's not a high fantasy kind of dimensional shifting type situation. That may come later. Okay, so let's not rule that out. All right. How are sliding doors locked if they have no panel to lock them? Good question mark. They're locked because it's like with anything. If you have a central hub, or you can just turn the power off to the door so they don't open. And if the AI who's controlling the ship can see in that spot, it will just turn the power off, and they're just metal plates stuck there. You see? Well, I've got a slightly different emergency bulkheads, possibly for a damaged part of the ship. Now that's going to be kind of fall into the It's an idea. I mean, as in, if you damaged and suddenly they went and like big bulkheads, but yeah, possibly. Don't stop throwing ideas at me if you've got them. If the AI is not connected, then the door will be open. So if it's the same check, you roll a d6 to check the door. 1 to 3, no doors. 4 to 6, Biocoded doors are locked. 5 to 6, security and biocoded doors are locked. And 6 is all doors are locked. Okay? So, so roll a d6. This is for the sliding doors. So there are some different mechanisms going in here. All right, so roll a d6. If the number is equal to or higher than the shift, then you've succeeded with no issues. Force a gap and push them out. So basically, you have a crowbar in your pack, all right? And it's your trusty crowbar. You get it out, jam it in, push it out, and then pull them apart. It's like you've seen so many sci-fi films, okay? So that is my logic. That's my thinking there, okay? So basically, you have a moment where you're using brute force, okay? Now, you do it anyway. So you push them open. If it's lower than your shift, then you've succeeded, but there was a hitch. So you open these doors, okay? It's just a question of whether you do it without a hitch. The sliding doors hitch table there, it will be something like an alarm goes off and a monster appears, or it takes longer than you think, you're exhausted, you have to eat a ration, or something like that. So there's going to be an addition, a narrative addition to it, rather than just being a roll, a test. Okay, so just to make it a bit more fun. Then we have locked. So this is if all these doors are locked. Okay, locked bio doors. Okay, the reinforced door is locked and cannot be forced or hacked. They're hacked as in cracked, coded. I should maybe make that clearer. There is a biometric scanner on the wall next to the door. The hand, paw, or manipulating appendage needs to be placed on it and scanned to open the door. A hand. You do not know which one though. Okay, you can try several alien limbs. When you find an alien which has to be sentient, so because it has to be kind of clever in a sense, it has to know that it has to place its hand upon the door. If it's just like some kind of pet, it's not going to open one of these biometric doors, is it? So it has to be a sentient creature. You can remove what it uses as a hand and place it on the scanner. If you do so, you become blooded. Roll a d6. On a 4 to 6, the door opens. Otherwise, you have the wrong limb. If you have encountered another one of the chosen aliens previously, +1 to the roll. So if there's a higher frequency of aliens, there's more chance of the alien appendage opening the door. So you kind of like, it's like you got the hand and you on the thing and it opens it. Evening, Star Glider, how are you doing? Thanks for the frigid gorger. Loving all the door talk. There's a sentence I never thought I'd say. I know. I looked at the heading for the stream. I thought, oh god, I'm really drawing people in with this one. But I thought it was. I thought this was quite interesting. Because thinking about doors in a spaceship is very different to thinking about doors in a dungeon. These are the types of things that go through your head when you're designing a game. You know, it's kind of like the mundane suddenly becomes interesting. So I've got to probably let's have locked here as well. Yes, I can imagine walking around with a backpack full of different appendages. Right. Well, I mean, there's a whole thing going on there. It's a pretty sick concept, really, isn't it? Really. And you would be bloody, because I know that in films people cut stuff off and the limb doesn't seem to give off a lot of blood, but I'm pretty sure any limb gets quite messy. Thank you, Star Glider. I hope so. This is what makes Void so compelling, similar, and yet so different. Exactly. It certainly throws up some interesting questions so far. So, of course, this type of action may not be something you want your character to do, in which case you will have to find another way around the door, perhaps going through another room. So if you want to, you don't have to go around chopping creatures' limbs off. It's up to you. It really is. And I wanted to make that clear. And I guess the question that I want to ask you guys that are here do you think that aspect is too gory? Do you think that for this, I mean, the 2D6 franchise is not about franchise brand, whatever products are not. They're not really. Yeah, they're not really horror. There's a few things about them which are a bit scary, but they're really kind of open to all ages. Children can play these. Blood as acid, your backpack corrodes. That's a great one. I love that one. Thank you. Blood as acid. I mean, we know the trope and we know the acid blood, but it's a nice idea. It affects mechanically. Cannot be carried. I think what I'll do with that, limbs. I like that idea. Thank you, Rob. Look, that's a narrative concept, and I love that sort of thing. So basically, what I would do, maybe there'll be a thing about cannot take limbs. Blood. This alien has acid for blood, and you cannot take the limbs to use on biometric doors. It's kind of something like that that goes into it. I don't know how many aliens are going to have acid blood. It may be other types of stuff. It may be that the creature's limb deteriorates really quickly for some reason. So it's non-functional. I don't know. We'll see. F. Boucherus, how are you doing? Backpack corrodes and you lose item. OMG. Yeah. You turn around, there's a hole in your backpack and everything's bloody gone. Lose all your items. I think if you cut a limb off, realistically, if you cut a limb off an alien and you looked at it and the blown and it kind of landed on your knee and went straight through, you'd be like, I don't think I've really taken that one. Or putting it in my backpack, to be honest. 2D6 universe. Yes, Frank. Oh, it's Frank. How are you doing? I think I recognise the little icon there now. Sorry. Okay. Right. So are we okay? We're okay with that level of gore, aren't we? Do we think? Are we okay with that level of gore? Can we just have like a hands up? I think you're okay, Toby. Proceed. No worries. It's been a while. Yeah. Yes. Gore is fine, Matt. Yes. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Graham. Rob, more gore. Okay. All goo gore. Yeah, fair enough. Awesome. It's as bloody as your imagination makes it. No, that's very true, actually. It's how you envision it, isn't it, really? It's how you look at it. Very good. Okay, cool. That's good. That's good. We'll leave, and I like the concept. There's going to be narrative woven through that. When you're a designer and you've put something in, and you think to yourself, "Ooh, I can imagine numerous different scenarios out of that." It's just very satisfying. Whereas a lot of it's mundane. When stuff like that pops in, you think, "Oh, I can imagine that trying about 5 different limbs and none of them working. What bloody uses this door?" And it's going to be, and one of the interesting things as well is the maps are narrower, so you're only going to have 3 rooms or maybe 4 rooms wide. So the pathway up is going to be, it's going to be more congested, so maybe harder. So, well, that is a good question. That's a good question, Jeff. I was thinking about it. I thought that might just be one step too far. I don't know what you think about ripping out an eyeball or chopping a hand off and putting that on. I mean, they're conceivably, absolutely, there may well be, because as with this book, at the beginning of each level there will be the usual page, and if in there I've got eyeball scanners as a little subheading and some information there could well be. Oh, you mentioned. Well, that's fantastic. Good call, Mark. Electrostatic blood that interferes with your electro gear if you get sprayed by it. Wow. Whew. Electrostatic blood. Did you just make that up? Put that down there. These are good narrative things that I might sort of throw in. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Yes. Fair enough. Okay, so then we have the security door. Okay, so locked, and some of these are going to be unlocked, some of them are going to be locked. Locked secure. This reinforced door. If this reinforced. If the reinforced door is locked, it cannot be forced. But there is a security pad which can be hacked. You can still use your skills to do so to open it. Roll 2d6. If this is equal to or over your combined technical and coding skills, then you have failed to crack the code. You can try again, but for every time you fail, you must roll on the FASET1 table, the failed security code door table. Indeed, it's a standard Toby reference table reference. So you are doing a test with that one, but as you will find out when you read the rules, there are ways of increasing your coding and technical skills in the short term as well. So locked security doors are your standard kind of fodder for a sci-fi film. Exactly, Jeff. The AI becomes more aware, and it increases. There's an increased chance of something being triggered. Yeah. Thanks, Graham. So you have the standard security, which is a test, but that is still manipulated. You can still manipulate that in your favour given the right situation. And of course now, waiting as well is something. If you cannot open any of the above doors, you must wait for an enemy to come through the door before you can proceed in entering. You may, of course, choose to follow another path. If you wait, you must face an enemy in combat. To establish who you will fight, roll on the patrol table for the level. If you succeed, defeat the alien, then the door remains open and you can proceed onwards. So there's always that side. I was umming and ahhing whether I should have that in there, to be honest. I was thinking to myself, do I want to have the wait option? I was kind of thinking about it. Possibly not. I'm not sure. It's one of those things that... Right. And then we have electrical barriers. Now, in Dungeon, we had slabs, which prevented you from going forward, and they were quite difficult to get through. In this, we have electrical barriers. Occasionally, you'll come across an archway that is filled with an electrical barrier, blue energy arcing across the space. You cannot pass through the barrier without taking d6 damage per level of Dark Hulk. So, if you are on level 4, you would take 46 damage. There are ways of reducing the damage, though. If you use an electrical discharge stim, that's a bit of a mouthful, you can walk through it without taking any damage, and the effect of the stim is used up. If you carry a diffusion grenade, you can use it to take the barrier down. If the barrier is passed through, it dissipates. Okay, so that's just add an extra bit to it, and there may well be upgrades to barriers for certain levels. So there may be more power flowing through one particular level. So it may be 6 damage per level, And that will be described at the beginning of the level. So before you enter that level, there'll be the descriptive text, and it will say on this level the electrical barrier doors are more dangerous. So it will give you the standard stuff. Yeah. So there are the doors. So that is at the moment where we're standing at with the doors, and I quite like the fun of the bio-coded doors. And there are the little symbols there, which make it slightly different. And of course, the rooms will be chamfered on the corners, so they will look like this. Potentially, Mark, I've got it written down here. That's definitely something to think about. And you can see the chamfered corners here. And ultimately, this is the shape of the level. So it's kind of like there's a rectangle shape in the long ship. It only covers a small area of the ship, but that's the only space the ship needs for things to be living in, for it to make the ship work. So there's like a massive chunk of ship which you can't really access because it's largely computers and engines and stuff like that. So that's the area that you explore, and the outer boundary is now called the hull boundary. So we're in that position. Right. Okay, so let's have a look down here. We've got right down this bottom bit. Oh, yes. Right, so the other thing I wanted to have a little talk about here, and in fact I've got it on there already, is the type of alien that we may encounter on the ship. Yeah, there are maintenance tunnels, but they're operated by droids and robots and machinery that is smaller and goes through those things. So not necessarily kind of like the habitat zones where these creatures and aliens live, where they've been grown and where the cyborgs have been assembled and then they work in these spaces. So that's kind of why it is the way it is. So we have the Avarian Sentinel here as the example. It's also on that side of the screen as well. But I was thinking, okay, so I think what we faced is a different prospect with alien types. So in the dungeon, they're all biological creatures, so to speak, apart from maybe the ghost type creatures, maybe, and they've still come from a biological creature. Their origins often are from that zone. Now, I have a list here. So in dungeon there's like a couple more, but what I think is we have biological, cyborg, energy, robotic, and synthetic. Now that's going to cover things like robots, cyborgs, obviously, as I say, but creatures that are part creature, part machine. But then robots are going to feature in this as well quite heavily. So that covers that. Any kind of alien that has been bred or brought up to the ship is going to fall into the biological. Any kind of flesh, biological being fits into there naturally. And then we have synthetic, which potentially might be experienced further into the Hulk, and maybe that's going to be made of plastics and replacement skins and stuff like that. So now that is Rob. You're on it. You're on it, Rob. Psionic was the other one that I was considering. Now, at the moment, it doesn't feel like there's a great psionic presence in the game in this version, and I feel like psionics is it has a wishy-washy type identity. I think if I said to someone, we're going to have psionics in the game, immediately what that conjures up is a replacement for magic. You know? And I kind of like think to myself, how do I want to drag that in? Do I want to kind of keep that separate for the moment? I feel like we could almost have a psionics expansion or a psionics something extra to add onto this core stuff. So I'm in two minds at the moment, Rob, as to whether we're going to have that type of creature. Maybe there should just be some aliens. I'm resisting it at the moment just because I like the kind of gritty sci-fi, grimdark sci-fi feel. And no, don't get me wrong, science could come into that as well. But I'm definitely thinking about it. You know, you called me out. You called me out on that one. Thanks. No, I'm happy to talk about anything here. Ships, lights out, and wandering synthetics. Yep. Well, synths as well have a kind of like a checkered past. You know, we think of obviously Blade Runner, and they look like humans, but are we? They could be synths of other species, so it could be like a lizard type species, and there's a lizard type species in this game. And there's an avian. The Ivarians here, bird type. There's going to be sort of themes pulled in like that. So, you know, it doesn't feel as if V. Right, yeah, there is a certain connection, isn't there, with the symbol, the logo. But yeah. I think that if you're watching the video back, you can leave a comment down below as well if any of the stuff we've been talking about. If you want to feedback on that one, please do. I think that if there are any other types, it doesn't occur to me apart from the psionics. And the thing about psionics is it really an alien type, or is it an ability that they have? Psionics probably are going to be a biological based thing. Shape changing monsters, like a level 1 but changes to level 5. I like it. You want it really hard, is that right, Rob? Yeah, so that would be a biological alien. I don't think they're one of the greatest sci-fi in my opinion. Yes. Yeah. Dark Morose Xena, how are you doing? I would think an alien ability like a superpowered whale song psionics. Yes, I think you're right. So I think the psionics would fit into these categories potentially if that's what it's going to. It may just be that there's a maneuver, psionic thrust or psionic brain melt. You could tie it in that way if you wanted to in your narrative. So it might be Firestarter-esque. So it could be melted brain or melting skin or something like that. And that could be a psionic power that you could implement into your... We need a Diana card. Are you making references now? Princess Diana. Yeah. No, I think it's I think they're pretty sound. Biological's pretty. They're all pretty broad. I've missed a bit. Was playing Mass Effect 2. Good for you. V9. Oh, guinea pigs. Yeah. Yes. I don't think there's any other. I think we're good on that. I think we're good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, probably the biggest challenge that I've had so far is to think about when I'm comparing the mechanics to Dungeon is how would you survive on the ship over a longer period of time? Now, in the Legendary Dungeon, we did that because there were places you could heal up, but it's not going to necessarily be like that on the Dark Hulk. You have a camo tent, which is kind of like it hides you in a space, and you can rest in the tent. It's kind of it's going to be one of these invisibility ones where it reflects the outside, and you can slot yourself into a careful corner. And it may be that you have to roll in the rooms for an optimal spot that would work best for the camo tent. Yes. That is a good question, Dark Morose. There is, yes. So we have it's working at the moment. We've got there are some working ideas going on here. Let me try and find these. So stim gas ingredients table. So there are different stims here you can make, and you can find these different types of gas on the ship. So basically, you get, as part of your equipment, you take what's called a stim deck. There are going to be first aid stations, Mark, I think. I don't see one. They're going to be like hospital type areas. But again, a lot of the technology is going to be alien, so you're going to have to. It's going to be some way of me working it so that you can recognise that it's a medical bay, if it is a medical bay, and that there are certain elements to it. But one of the advances that you have is you have a stim deck. So it's like a little dock. It's called a stim dock, and yeah. So there's a stim dock, and you put this stim injector in it, and then there are some like these little holes where you can put like gas, and the gas goes in to, if you slot it on, and it goes into, fills the stim. You can then take the stim out. The gas is spent, and the gas mixes up inside the stim, and you can inject it into yourself and heal. And that's kind of where we're at with it. So that's a bit like making up potions or doing that sort of thing. It's kind of like first aid. And in fact, the section I haven't written yet is the camo tent section. And within that, so within the camo tent, you have a little area, a little dot, which has got like a little high-powered battery in it, and you plug it in, and you can download. You can pay for. Hey Mick, how you doing? Good to see you. And you can print out. You get sent the codes when you pay for it, and you can print out stuff on your 3D printer. So that will include things like ammo and gases and stuff like that. The new level of technology for 3D printing, you can be sent the code and print it out. This stuff. Yeah. No, I'm good, Mick. I'm good. Rob said, don't mix up the nice gas with the acid for blood gas. No kidding. Thank you. Yeah, it's coming along nicely. I don't know whether you looks like a nice game. Are you new to the like mixing bleach and ammonia? I mean, there may be ways of creating. The fact there are some different types of grenade throwing weapon that you can construct, like potion bombs. So those are definitely in the mix. Let's see if I can find those. Sorry if I'm making your eyes go all funny. So you can throw metal pipes, because they're going to be readily available around the ship. Mag grenades, oil bombs, diffusion grenades. So there are different types that you can construct yourself. There's going to be like ways of constructing those, and you can then use that to your advantage. You know, trying to cover the same thing. So I've got one rule set compared to another. I'm trying to make sure I've got kind of potion bombs in the form of the 2d6 Void. So no, mate, I've been here from day one. Oh, right, yes, of course. It's just the way you phrased it. I was like, I know Mick Dunn. What are you talking about? Yeah, of course you have. Sorry. Will there be food rations? Like, can we eat the alien critters we encounter? Really good questions, Dark Morosina. As it happens, yes. See if we can find that for you. Rations. Sorry, I'm doing your eyes in again. Don't stare too hard at the screen. Making up rations. While exploring the Dark Hulk, you will find individual foods which, on their own, are enough to make up a full ration. If you find are not enough to make up a full ration, this is the standard dungeon rules. If you find 3 types of food, you can combine them to make one ration through inventive usage. For example, if you find edible leaves, seeds, and dried meat, they can be combined to make one ration. That's just an example. You can identify potentially edible foods by using your sample scanner. So this is part of your finger rolls to go. This is part of your equipment. This is part of the sci-fi side of it. I have to think, well, you won't know what's edible when you're on an alien ship, will you? So let's try and be real, all right? So you've got a sample scanner. When you find something organic that has the prefix alien, such as alien leaves or alien vegetable, you can use the sample scanner to test if it is edible. Roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, the organic matter is edible, is inedible, and cannot be used. You cannot test corpses, all right? You cannot butcher and eat the aliens you kill. They're just not compatible with your biology, all right? That's how it is at the moment. Although in dungeon you can eat the dogs and stuff you find if you want. Majority at the moment, that is the rule, unless we get a lot of protest about that whole situation. So yes, there we go. Good question, Dartmouth. No eating the enemy. Well, there may be some exceptions. So if you've just come in late, there is the festive Christmas card, which you can download. That is there, and it's free. So you just got to paste the link into the browser. The link is in the description of this video. Space chicken. In dungeon, you have to cook the meat. No fires on the Dark Hulk. It does seem that way. That's very much how I've kind of perceived it. It's difficult to to build a fire in a metal structure. I guess we might work something in if there's some kind of heat you can use, maybe. But the 1 to 2 on test on the matter, which is inedible, means you definitely can't eat it raw, whatever it is. So we'll see. It's a good point though, Jeff. Good point. Yeah. So if you're in late, that is free. You can download it at the link in the description. And if you've got any comments or anything like that, please do add them in down below, and I will endeavour to answer them. I try and answer everything. Sometimes I miss a few things. They seem to. It's weird the way, say, Facebook allows some messages to disappear off the page after like just half an hour, and you just have to scroll down to try and find them. No problem, Mick. And yeah. So that is there, yeah. For the yes, Jake's. I think there's a pencil drawing, and then he's done some watercolor on there with some textures. Yeah, and then I added the text, which is probably the worst bit, but it's still a bit of fun. So we're excited. Again, I'm going to have my head down over the next couple of days. I've got my my sister coming over on Saturday. We've got a whole bunch of packing to do. We've got a whole big surge of orders for Christmas. I would say that try and get your orders in now if you want your Christmas presents in time. If you're buying this for anybody, and I would suggest it's a wonderful gift. There are 4 folders left. We did have a few left over. We put those on the site. I think 4 folders. D Johnson, how are you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Looking forward to Void. Yeah, it won't be long. It's not going to be long. I'm going to So basically, I think I've said this before. Once I've written the rules, put them into their layout, and then once I've written the level 1, all backers are going to get to have a play of level 1. Once the campaign is finished and we know who all the backers are, they will get the test demo, the play test demo for level 1 of Void, and you all can get your hands on it and have a good go. Booyah Games. So pumped for this. I only discovered the hobby a couple of weeks ago. Have been playing 2D6 Dungeon every night. Oh, fantastic, man. That's great. That is great to hear. Yes. Oh, get sucked into that dungeon. The post bought some goodies from you, but I didn't buy them. The post bought some goodies from you, but I didn't buy them. Lol. I don't quite know what you mean, Matt. Yeah, so just go in there. We've got on the previous video, we've got the Board Game Geek page up, so you can go there and click that little heart if you like. You don't have to, but it is there. And if you're looking at other products and you think, oh, I like this one, feel free to go and give us a review on Board Game Geek, or leave a message somewhere. All that kind of helps us with the algorithm. We don't have like any big marketing budget or anything like that. We just rely on the awesome folks in the community. Ah, fantastic. Well, don't spoil it, Matt. Secret Santa. Yes. Yeah. All right. Okay, guys. I'm going to leave it there. And so, as I say, the plan is I'm going to get this raw selection of rules finished in the next couple of days. Okay, so expect it by Monday. Jeff, Mark, David, if you want it. Clive's going to get it. I'm going to ask Nick whether he wants it. David, if you want it. But guys might want to wait until I've had a couple of runs over it on the draft, and then once I put it in the layout, you may feel more inclined to look at it then, because we will have it will make more sense. And this straight layout is a little bit it's not as structured with the diagrams in the right places and stuff like that. So, but it's completely up to you. Just let me know. But I've got the usual suspects who I will be posting out to. And then hopefully I can sit down. It's going to take me a while to do the corrections when they come through. Hopefully there's not too many, because we're lifting quite a bit from Dungeon, which was heavily proofread and edited. So hopefully the foundation's there, and we will have not this weekend but next weekend maybe some functional rule set in a layout. That'd be nice. That's me getting ahead of myself again, bearing in mind that there's probably things going on as we get nearer Christmas. So awesome. And then I'm going to be working on that level 1, and I'm already ticking it over in my head. I've got a few rooms ideas and creatures. I've got a few ideas that I've sent over to Jake to sketch out some stuff for me. So we're good. It's good. Awesome. Okay, guys, have a great weekend, and I'll be back probably on Thursday again next week, and largely because at the moment our games night has shifted to Fridays, so Thursdays are looking good, and it's nice to get a few dev diaries, if you like, out there talking about the game. Awesome. All right, guys, take care, and thanks for being here, and I will catch up with you very soon. Thanks again.